Right then, guys, welcome to the Real Pod.
Yeah, Joe, so that brings me sort of into our next question, if you like, a bit of the dark side of things. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of people internationally, nationally, in and around the world, some dangerous people as well. And I know they're all your friends, ultimately. You're not aligned to anybody.
There's always been underworld involved in boxing. From the days of Al Capone, you know, and even before that, there's always been underworld in boxing. You go to a boxing fight, a boxing match, you could be sitting ringside with a member of a royal family. You could be sitting with a member of the governing government. You could be sitting beside a bin man. You could be sitting beside a doctor. You could also be sitting beside a gangster. That's the attraction of boxers and the attraction of boxing. You know, it's got a cosmopolitan audience. It's a very cosmopolitan sport. It's the most, I'm not saying played sport because you don't play boxing, but it's the most competed sport in the world. You go to many, many corners of the world. They might not be kicking a football. They might not be bouncing a basketball, but there'll be a kid punching a bag.
Yes.
Right? And it's the first sport of the modern day Olympics. And it's celebrated every Olympics the year before with the Acropolis Games. And that's why I boxed in 1987 for the 1988 Olympics. And the opening ceremonies as such for the Olympics. And boxing, then the origins of boxing go way back. But the audience of boxing is so cosmopolitan and so diverse. You don't know who you could be sitting next to. But we're there, as I am now, as a fan. I don't compete anymore.
Yeah.
Am I cheering for the red corner or the blue corner? Or in the cage, whatever they come out of in the cage? We're cheering for whoever we support. And that's the attraction of the sport. You know, it's so, the audience is so diverse and so cosmopolitan.
I mean, I wasn't trying to put any label on it per se. The reason why I ask, obviously, you've been amongst the greatest when it comes to boxing. There's no question about it. You know,
I'm very privileged.
You know, you've been very lucky and been privileged, like you said, to spend and share this time with people like Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Nigel Benn, George Foreman, all of the greatest,
greats of my era and the previous era
as well. Yeah. But then also you've got your Hoist Gracies, you know, your BJJ World, you've got your G-Oaks, you know all these, you know, your Vic Darks, you know, Michael French sees he did a podcast on you all the way from America.
He was the Colombo crime family head.
Yes, he was the head of the family.
But he was a massive boxing fan and a massive Mike Tyson fan.
Yeah.
You know, and you ask anybody that might not even be a boxing fan, do they admire boxers? And they say they do, yeah. They might not like the sport, but they admire the boxer. People admire fighters for one reason or another, for the fact that they endure the pain that they endure, the fact that they're prepared to sacrifice, because it's a lonely sport. People say the loneliness of the long-distance runner, right? What do boxers have to do before they get into fight? They've got to run them long distances. So they've got the loneliness of the long-distance runner. Then on top of that they've got the loneliness of the fight. Yeah. So they've got a double loneliness. So the loneliness of a long-distance runner is overrated because you're not getting hurt other than your physical stamina, you know, when you're running.
And mental, to an extent.
Mental, you know. But when you get into fight,
a lot
more pain
than
the
stitch in your stomach.
Stitch in your stomach,
or the weak
blisters
knees
on your feet, you know. But the loneliness of a long distance runner is tame compared to the loneliness of a man or a woman on the receiving end of a beating. Yeah. Because them 3 minutes, might as well be 3 months, they just tick away the seconds when you're getting battered. And then when you see your opponent's eyes light up when he thinks he's got the big one, the bingo punch, because he's landed the previous punch and he sees your eyes rolling. And if the referee isn't quick enough, they're going in for that second blow. And you don't feel that knockout punch as such, you know, because I've been knocked out. It's afterwards when you're having a bit of food and you're trying to chew and your jaw or your eye socket or your head is all swollen and painful. Then you feel that knockout
Oh,
points.
that's that punch.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just a sport.
No, the reason why I ask this is because obviously you know a lot of people and you've met
Yeah.
a lot of people in your walk of life nationally in the UK and also obviously internationally in America
the
and so
world,
on.
yeah.
But you've had your own hurdles, problems. You've been shot. You've been done for attempted murder. Been in prison. Would you like to open up on that? Can I ask you? I mean, I know the ins and outs.
You can ask me anything you want.
But for our viewers,
You can ask me anything you want, right? And I'll answer.
Thank you, no, I
I'll answer
appreciate
as
that.
honestly as I possibly can, right? I'll bow to royalty out of respect. I bow to no man out of fear. I'd rather take a beating than bow out of fear. I can't do it. I won't do it. And that's me. And I'd like to think that that's a lot of boxers, because the fight game separates.
men from the boys.
Well, I won't even say the men from the boys because there's boys with fighting spirit. The men from the wimps, right?
Okay.
Or now the women from the wimps.
Snowflakes.
Called snowflakes these days.
Snowflakes. nowadays, Joe.
The thing is, when you're not a wimp, you won't bow out of fear, right? You'd rather just take the beating that's dished out than bow out of fear, and that's me. And when I went into the pub trade, I gave it a go. I gave the pub trade a go. I retired from boxing, and Paddy Finn, the ex-Irish heavyweight champion, whose family had founded my amateur boxing club, a man that I used to want to emulate. People say about the great world champions. I just wanted to be Irish champion like Paddy Finn. He was the Irish champion from my boxing club, the No Boxing Club. And I wanted to emulate him. And when he retired from boxing, because he had a bad back, he had a dislocated whatever in his back, and he had to retire, yeah. He had to retire, credible heavyweight. I came to visit Paddy when my boxing career was finished, to get advice from him, to see that there was life after boxing. Because anything I'd ever really done training-wise, if I cycled a bike or if I swam, I didn't cycle a bike or swim for fun. I cycled a bike and swam to benefit me into fitness and strength for boxing, and everything I seemed to do was tunnel vision, blinkered for boxing. So now it was over, and I was in sort of limbo land. Like a lot of fighters in limbo land. There's a documentary coming out now soon called 10 Count. A guy called Leon McKenzie. I can promote this on this. It'll be coming out soon. Leon McKenzie was an ex-Premiership football player that's career was cut short because of injuries. And the man, I believe, tried to take his life on a couple of occasions because he didn't have any targets in life. It was over. His football was over. And his uncle, Duke McKenzie, one of the great British world champions, I think he won 3 world titles, encouraged Leon to box. He said, look, there's more to life than soccer. You can't compete at the highest level of soccer, but you might be able to compete at a decent level of boxing.
Yeah.
You've got a good family background with the boxing. His uncle, like I said, 3-time champion of the world. And Leon McKenzie went on to win an English professional title for phenomenal achievement coming from the Premiership soccer. And he realised then there was more to life than soccer. But in boxing, when the referee goes 10, the fight's over. It's over.
Yeah.
But in life, it doesn't mean it's over. 10 is just a number. It doesn't mean it's over. And Leon interviewed a lot of these great athletes around the world. Their careers were cut short for one reason or another. The Rock, his career was cut short in wrestling. He went into the acting, life at the end of the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel. Great Brazilian soccer players. Frank Bruno, great British boxer. Kelly Holmes, different supreme athletes whose careers were cut short for one reason or another, were in the dark, in a bad place in their mind.
What did you do next?
Yeah. So he's interviewed all these greats, and it's coming out now soon. 10 Count, and I've got a minute, maybe a minute and a half on this talking.
Okay, really.
But I'm up
10
there,
Count.
10 Count by Leon McKenzie.
Leon McKenzie.
And it's coming out soon. It was made over the last few years. Different athletes from around the world with millions in their bank balance, but just no focus anymore because the career that they'd been in had been took from them for one reason or another. Did they retire early because of injury or for whatever reason, and they didn't know what to do with their lives, and they suffered with their mental health and suicidal and whatever other thoughts.
I can understand that.
Right?
Yeah.
So It's going to be an incredible documentary.
Yeah.
Looks interesting.
It's gonna be
Eye-opening.
it's
It's a
gonna
big
be-
eye-opener, that
It's
is.
going to be an incredible
Yeah.
documentary. I can't wait for it to come out. But I believe Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure.
We'll check it
It
out.
was recently spoken about in America. The big networks are after it, and it's been edited and done and ready to go. So hopefully
Nice.
soon.
Brilliant.
And when I spoke to Paddy Finn, getting back to that question, Paddy said, "Look, Joe, when my career finished, I went into the pub trade. Now, I've never considered suicide. I've been in dark places in my life. I've never considered suicide, and I believe that I've lost friends to suicide. I've lost friends to suicide. They are in a very, very, very dark place, worse than I've ever been in, to go to that extreme, to take their life. And I feel sorry for them at that moment, and I feel sorry for the families and friends that they leave behind. And it's a high mortality rate, suicides, and I hope they get a grip on it soon. You know, I hope that there's help out there for people that are considering it. You know, pick up the phone, talk to a family member, talk to a friend. You know, think of some alternative rather than suicide. Anyway, I never considered it, but I was in a dark place. My career was over. I didn't know what to do with my life. I've been involved in a very bad car accident. I was a coach passenger coming from one of my pro fights. And a taxi at the coach I was on and smashed my knee, smashed my shoulder, smashed my jaw. It was over. So I was in a dark place and went into a bit of a depression for 2 years. People say to me about being depressed before it hit me. And I used to joke, say, what's depression? I was full of the joys of life, you know. But see, when it hits you, it's like the sucker punch from hell. And I went into a depression for a couple of years and my weight piled on and I didn't know what to do with my life because boxing was over. I was still a young man. I was 24, 25, fit, healthy and depressed. So I went to speak to Paddy Finn and he said to me, when he had to retire because of this thing in his back,
Yeah.
he suffered terrible mentally as well. But he said he found the pub trade. And he said, I want to come over and work in his pub, the Dubliner pub in Digbeth in Birmingham. He said, I'll give you an opportunity to learn a trade. So I spoke to my dad. My dad said, listen, they helped you through your boxing career. Why can't they just help you through life? They're a good family, the Finns. So I said, yeah, okay, Dad. I needed to get my dad's blessing. And I came over and I worked for Paddy Finn for 2 years. I did 2 MVQ certificates. Like I said, I'd left school with 2 swimming certificates. And now I've got 2 MVQ certificates and a BII certificate, British Institute of Innkeeping. I was very proud of myself. I became the licensee of the Dubliner pub. And then a pub came up in Erdington called the Lyndhurst. It was on a very rough estate in Erdington. People joke, they said the Lyndhurst estate made Beverly Hills look like Beirut. It was that rough, you know. And I liked the look of the pub because it had a function room attached to the pub. And I thought maybe I could put a boxing tournament on in the function room, which I did. I put 2 boxing tournaments on and had Ernie Shavers attend one of the boxing tournaments.
Brilliant.
Heavyweight, great
Yeah.
all-time puncher. Bunny Johnson, the first black British heavyweight champion. Richie Woodall, the super middleweight champion of the world, Olympic bronze medalist. And Rob Norton, who was the world cruiserweight champion, attend functions, boxing tournaments in the function room. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, great. And I was very proud of myself. And my business partner at the time, because I hadn't got the money to take the lease on, and my business partner at the time, he invested the money and we done the pub up and we made a great go of it. It had done really, really well. We took over in September 97, but in July 1998, we had the racketeers. Now, I thought this only happened in movies. Even though I'd been years doing security, I didn't think this until it happens to you.
You'd never come across it, yeah.
Until it happens to you, right? And on the 19th of July 1998, we had a demand from the racketeers for £500 a week protection money. So I thought, this really happening? You know? Pardon me. This particular family, this particular gang, they'd burnt down a lot of pubs. They'd actually had run-ins with Paddy Finn
Oh, okay.
over the years with pubs that he had. The well-known Thuggish family, scum. And their henchman as such, I won't name him, I won't glorify him.
Just the bullies.
Bullies,
Another
bullies,
yeah.
bullies. I've dealt with them all my life. People think it only happens to you as a child.
No.
Yeah.
It's happened to me as an adult. Do you understand? It's happened to me, you know. And people think, oh, Joe Egan, you wouldn't have to endure that. I've had to endure it. You know, it doesn't just happen to Joe Public, it happens to Joe Egan as well, right? Anyway, they put the demand in for £500 a week. My business partner, ex-French Foreign Legion, Medal of Honour winner,
Ooh.
won the Croix de Guerre.
Nice.
Right? He said, let's take it to them, Joe. And I said, Tom, I'm not a vigilante. I said, I'm not a vigilante. I'm now a licensee for a pub. I've now got my certificates. I've got a good life. I'm living upstairs in the pub. You know, I'm enjoying my life. My boxing's over. I'm getting a second bite at the apple. Some people don't even get one bite at the apple.
100%.
I'm now getting a second bite at the apple. And now with the acting, I'm getting a third bite at the apple.
Yeah.
You know, so
Last
I'm
thing you want is this.
Yeah, but this to me shouldn't be happening. So I said, I'm going to contact the police. Tom said, let's take it to them. He said, let's give it to them. And I said, no, Tom, no. I said, I'm a licensee. I'm not a vigilante, right? I'm a pillar of the community. We're doing very well in the pub. We've got the Lions Club, one of the biggest charitable organisations in the world, have got the crest on my pub wall.
Wow.
We're in the Lions Club directory, right? I've got communions, holy communions. I've got weddings. I've got all sorts of we've got quiz nights.
You're a businessman, aren't you now?
We're
You're
doing
not,
ever so
you're
well,
not a-
you know. So
yeah.
I'm not a vigilante. So contacted the sergeant that I deal with, and he said he will take care of this. He will sort this out, no problem. Now, during the week, that same week, the 19th of July 1998, up until the following Sunday, which was the 26th of July 1998, there's all sorts of threats coming over the phone. Phone warriors, thuggish threats. Anyway, it was out of my control at that stage because I'd refused to my business partner to attack.
Yeah.
I put my faith in the police. Right? The following week, on the 26th of July 1998, I got a phone call from a landlord of a pub to tell me that these gangs are gathering.
Sorry, before we go on there, you were going to say something about the henchman, weren't you? I think you were saying.
The gunman,
Gunman,
the
yeah.
main gunman, right? I won't glorify him. Scumbag, right?
Is he alive
Coward.
still?
Oh, he's still alive.
Okay.
He's still alive. And I hope he dies screaming, to tell you the truth.
No.
Well, goes
I don't
round,
blame
comes
you.
around.
It is what it is.
I hope he dies screaming. But lo and behold, anyway, the 26th of July, I got a tip off from a landlord of a pub. They said that these gangs are gathering. So I phoned the police sergeant who I built a friendship with. He said to me, I'm on my way to you, Joe. He said, I radio the station. He said, I'll send men to physically to disperse these gangs. As he was on his way to me, he got sent to a Mickey Mouse alarm call on the Bromford. This is fact.
Couldn't make it up.
He got sent to a Mickey Mouse alarm call on the Bromford. Half an hour later, there's 37 men on my car park, armed with hatchets, machetes,
There's guns
a
as
handgun,
well.
a shotgun. We had a Sunday communion function going on. A communion going on a Sunday in the function room. I was blessed that day because the pub was frequented by a lot of ex-boxers, a lot of proud men. I was blessed that day that there was a lot of tough men in the pub because the gang that had attacked had come to kill, and they would have killed me. I would have took a couple of them with me, but so what?
They've come prepared though. You're busy running
They
your
had
pub.
handgun, shotgun, machetes, hatchets, and there was a 25-minute pitch battle before the first policeman arrived.
It's a long fight.
55 minutes before the first policeman arrived. The police station, 600 yards, 800 yards, Erdington police station,
What?
From the pub.
from the pub. Right?
No excuse that, is it?
Anyway, that particular, there was an armed response unit ready that day as well. They knew there was men coming to my pub with guns. But for whatever reason, I'm not going to speculate,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, it took them 55 minutes to get to my pub. And there was an old man. I'm going to name a man. I'm going to name a man called Steve Dalton. I've named him in my book. Bravest man I've ever met in my life. And I've met some brave men in my life. Steve Dalton, a couple of weeks previous, I'd met for the first time with his brother-in-law, Jason McAlinden. Jason's wife, Jane, actually met in the Lyndhurst pub. I introduced him at the Lyndhurst pub.
Nice.
Yeah. So Jason and Jane, my good friends. Jason's sister, Tina, is married to Steve Dalton. They've got a son called Jack Dempsey Dalton, and a fine young man. But I only met Steve a couple of weeks before. His family frequented the pub. His sister Kathy and his sister Lynn frequented the pub, and I had a lot of good people frequent the pub. So when the gang attacked, Steve ran at the bullets. He ran at the guns. I hid behind the wall. I hid, I'm a big target, and I hid behind the wall. I'm not ashamed. I hid behind the wall. But Dalton ran at the bullets, and there was 3 shots from a handgun were fired as Dalton ran at them. This is fact, I'm not making this up. There was 3 shots from the handgun let off. Then the handgun it was a 5-shot 32, and it was thrown on the floor. It jammed after 3 shots. Anyway, Tim O'Regan, an Irishman that had fought in the World War II, an Irishman fought in the British Army, survived World War II. He stepped out into the foyer with his hands up. He said, I can stop this. I know these boys. He knew the family that was attacking.
The guys.
As he stepped out, I've stepped out from behind the wall to pull him back into cover. The shotgun then was handed to the man that had fired the 3 shots from the handgun, and he let 2 shots go from the shotgun. Hit Tim O'Regan into the hip, and it done a lot of damage to Tim O'Regan. And some of the shotgun pellets then hit me. I was behind Tim trying to pull him in. And people ask me, who hit you the hardest with the punches? Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis. I said, well, lead hit me harder than leather. I said, and the lead that entered my skin hurt me a lot more than the lead that had hit me on my skin. It's very painful getting shot. I wouldn't recommend it. And
Was this a sawn-off shotgun or just a...
sawn-off shotgun.
Sawn-off.
Yeah, sawn-off shotgun. I've looked into a lot of men's eyes when I was fighting, a lot of men's eyes when I was standing on the doors, a lot of men with bad intentions, but I've never looked into a set of evil eyes like this man that shot Tim O'Regan and shot me. Evil, pure evil. I won't mention his name because I'm not going to glorify him, right? Scum, right? And I'll glorify Steve Dalton because he was
100%,
brave.
yeah.
He was brave. Steve said afterwards that his wife and sister was in the pub. His wife and sisters was in the pub. And if them animals had got in, God knows what sort of carnage they would have caused. That headlines in the newspaper, they said the battle at the Lyndhurst pub on the 26th of July 1998 made Braveheart look like a Walt Disney film. There was limbs lost. There was a bad pitched battle.
Could you imagine the clean-up after that on the street?
Listen,
Messy.
I had to walk across the car park to the ambulance.
But then what happened in the hospital? Didn't something
I
escalate?
I had to walk across my car park because the ambulances couldn't get up the road, right? And I had to walk across my car park, and you can imagine the squelching of walking through blood because it was carnage, right? And some of my own blood, right? Some of my own blood, right? I travelled in the ambulance up to Good Hope Hospital up in Sutton Coldfield. As I pulled in my ambulance, the other ambulance that I took Tim O'Regan, ambulance drivers were coming across and they were saying, we've got all the gangs from the Lyndhurst pub in the hospital. And I said, there was no gangs at the Lyndhurst pub. I'm the landlord of the pub. There was one gang attacked the pub. Yeah. I said, is there a police presence in that hospital? They went, yeah, there's a police presence in the hospital. Now, don't forget, they've let me down at my pub. I'm now in the hospital. I'm sitting down. I'm wounded. I'm sitting in the casualty area. Tim O'Regan has been attended to. He was wounded a lot worse than me. There's people in the casualty area, because I don't know who these people are that had attacked me, because they were balaclavaed up and masked up. So I never saw the face. So I don't know who I'm sitting amongst.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting there, 2 men walked past me, put their fingers to my forehead, as
Like
if
a
they're shooting
gunshot,
me,
yeah.
right? And looked at me. So I've jumped up off my stool and I've knocked the 2 of them out in the casualty area of the hospital. At that stage, the police had come running in. There's people screaming. I've picked up a chair to sail into anybody else that
Who
was
else
coming
coming
at
at
me.
you,
Yeah,
yeah.
listen, I was in fear of what was going to happen. Do you understand? Anyway, the police calmed the situation down. But they had me in that same hospital amongst the family and friends and the people that had attacked me in the pub. For whatever reasons, I don't know.
I was going to say, do you not think, looking back now, Joe, that there was not a bigger picture maybe from the police or licensing maybe?
I
or
don't know.
for
I'm
them
not going
lose
to
the pub
speculate.
or-
I'm not going to speculate. Like I say, I sing the praises of the police.
Yeah. No, I'm not knocking them. I know they have a tough
Nudge,
job. But
I sing the praises of the police.
Yeah.
But on that day, I was failed by the police.
something just
Right?
wasn't
I was
right,
failed
yeah.
by the police. But I was blessed with the men that were in my pub and the women that were in my pub, and Steve Dalton in particular,
Yes.
right, that were in my pub that day to fight to protect my life and also protect their own lives, because them gang that had attacked came to kill.
They
You know
came
what?
to
They
kill
came to
you,
kill.
yeah. You-
They came to kill. And in this day and age, in this society that we live in, the police are the numbers aren't high enough.
No, they're not. No.
You know, they're understaffed. And when you've got gangs out there, you know, that are armed to the teeth, you know, the police need to be increased in numbers, given more powers of arrest. There needs to be more punishment, because the punishments are too lame,
Way too light as well.
way too light, you know. And there's a lot of things needed to be done. But a lot of these people that are making these decisions are living in secluded, safe areas.
Yes.
They live in bubbles. They don't live the
They're living in
reality of
secluded,
life.
safe areas, and they have no idea. By walking when they're canvassing for a vote doesn't get them the knowledge of what's happening.
Yeah, 3 months before the elections.
They
start.
don't get the knowledge. I'm not criticising the job that they do.
Yeah.
I'm not criticising the job that they do, but I think somebody that's more
They don't understand that
educated,
life, though. Yeah.
more educated in what's going on in society should be the person making the decisions.
100%.
You know, not a person that's, you know, had a mollycoddled life, you know, and living a mollycoddled life. You need to have somebody that, even as an advisor, not making the decisions, but somebody that can influence them in the decisions that they make, you know. And there's a lot of things happening in society, that violence seems to be the answer. Do you understand? People have a dispute over land. People have a dispute over business. That seems to be turning to violence. Violence is on the rise.
There isn't even a chance of any dialogue, is there?
No,
It's bad.
violence is on the rise in a society that should be more diplomatic. You know, the world wars, great men and great women died in the
Should
world
learn
wars.
from them, yeah.
Yes, because we can't be dictated to, but we've got to be able to make good choices. And violence isn't the choice.
No,
Violence to me,
It's always the last resort.
last
Last resort.
resort. It shouldn't come to that.
No,
It
100%.
should not come to violence.
I mean, we're smart human beings, but in 2023,
it shouldn't come to
dialogue
violence.
is the way
It
forward.
shouldn't come to violence. And the thing is, getting back to boxing, you look at where boxing clubs start. Boxing clubs are on housing
Deprived
estates,
areas, yeah.
on housing estates, deprived mostly. I have the Big Joe Boxing Academy now. I'm very, very proud that my name is attached to a boxing academy, the Big Joe Boxing Academy. My friends have got me into that very privileged position that my name has been used, and I hope they roll it out all around the country, the Big Joe Boxing Academies. And these boxing gyms are on these housing estates with young men, young women in there trying their best, to make a better life for themselves, to get them off street corners. Idle hands make work for the devil.
Yes.
Right? And they're closing down these boxing clubs where they should be opening them. So whoever's making them decisions,
Like all the community centres, libraries, leisure centres, just shut them down. Yeah, so naturally kids,
whoever's making these
teenagers
decisions
are going to go into
are
the
badly
streets.
advised. They're badly advised, and they can't say, "Oh, it's lack of funds." Some of these community centres fund themselves.
Yes.
They just need a building. And the Muhammad Ali Centre in particular, I've been to the Muhammad Ali Centre in Louisville. Incredible. They've got a Muhammad Ali Centre in Birmingham that's gone to rack and ruin. Just left. Derelict.
Wow.
Derelict. And you think to yourself, Birmingham, a major city in the UK.
Second biggest.
Second biggest city in the
UK. They've let the Muhammad Ali Centre just go to rack and ruin. And that should be, I don't even know how to put the words what
Sad.
it should be.
It's sad.
It should definitely be looked after though and preserved
an
for
iconic
what it is.
site.
Iconic place, yeah. 100%, yeah.
And that place should be a community centre for old, community centre for multicultures
Yes.
to come, a safe haven for children that might be getting bullied for somebody stealing their mobile phone if they can't make it to a police station.
Yeah.
They've got a safe haven there. Get there to where they're going to get comforted. They're going to get protected if they can't make it home or they can't make it to a police station.
100%.
Them community centres are getting closed. These boxing gyms are getting closed. And this day and age, they shouldn't be.
It's sad. Yeah.
It is tragic. It's very, very tragic, It's heartbreaking and society's getting worse as a result of it.
Unfortunately, yeah. No, I would say so, yeah. I just wanted to ask you, when this, obviously with the shooting at the pub,
Yeah.
and your friends being involved, didn't the police try, or was that a different incident, do you for attempted murder?
I got done for attempted murder. I got charged.
Yeah, you got
I
charged for
arrested,
attempted murder, didn't you?
My doorman, right? He stayed at my premises, right? And to look after my premises when I'd gone to hospital, so that in case anybody tries to come in and steal whatever little money there was in the till or stock. And I got arrested and charged. All I done was defend myself. And I beat the charges. There was headlines in the newspaper, justice prevails, because that would have been insult to injury if I'd have gone down. All I done was defend myself.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, I'd do the same again today if it came to it. I'm not going to be bullied.
If you don't mind me saying, Joe, if I can touch on it, almost reminds me of history in itself then, just like your father fought at home on Brammer Road, was it? Sorry? Brammer Grove. 4-day siege, council, police at the end, but bailiffs, but the normal guy couldn't beat him. That's my point. And then come fast forward, whatever, 20, 30 years on, it's almost living that same...
Yeah, well, I'm like my dad, I'm his DNA, and like I said earlier, I'll bow to royalty out of respect. I won't bow to a man out of fear. I can't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. I'd rather die. I'd rather die, And that's me, And I'm not on my own. There's a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
A lot braver than me, a lot more capable than me. And they stand for what they believe in. And that's all I stood for, what I believed in. I'm not going to be bullied by anybody.
I noticed, and obviously we've spoke before, and I've seen a few podcasts, as I'm sure the viewers have. It's very close to you, isn't it? Bullying, this online trolling, in person.
I hate bullies. I lecture.
Yeah, I lecture. You do in person and everything.
I lecture.
That's what I mean.
There's bullying within the ranks of the police.
Institutionalised bullying.
Fact.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine. I work with the Blue Glove Boxing, which is the police boxing.
Yeah.
And they raised a lot of money for wonderful charities. Caldwell's charity in particular.
Caldwell as well, yes.
John
We
Caldwell.
met on a few of them, yes, yeah.
John Caldwell used to own Phones for You.
Yeah, Stokey. He's
an incredible businessman.
He's from Stoke-on-Trent.
An incredible businessman. Not on his own. There's Jed Mason from the Mawson Group. There's other businessmen that have become very, very, very successful billionaires.
Yeah.
And a lot of charities, this is a thing that I hold dear to heart, right? A lot of charities have, I learned they have administration charges, right?
I had a rant about charity last week,
Yes.
so
Right.
I know where this is going.
I raised £1,750 for a charity
Well
in
done.
the Lyndhurst pub in 1998, and I sent the money away. We had a
It's a
race
lot of
night.
money even then, that
We
is.
had a on a housing estate that
Lot of
was
money.
very on the
Deprived and,
yeah.
yeah,
anyway.
lacking.
So my bar staff worked for free. Dave Crystal, the DJ, worked for free. The guy that came to race thing came to work for free. Me and my business partner sold the beer at non-profit. So we really worked for free. And we sent the £1,750 away. So I contacted the charity. I won't name the charity. I contacted the charity, told them that I sent the £1,750 away. They said, wonderful. I said, well, look, if Frank Bruno or Barry McGuigan is passing by, if they could pop in, and I know Frank and I know Barry, I've got the numbers, if they could pop in and have a photograph, they said, look, £1,750 doesn't warrant a celebrity. I said, understand on the scheme of things, it's not a big amount, but it's a big amount for us on a working class pub, on a working class estate. They said, look, by the time we take out admin charges, I said, excuse my
me?
naivety. I said, what is admin charges? They said, we've got to pay the staff at the charity. And I said, my £1,750 that my customers have raised, my staff have raised, me and my business partner have raised, are paying your wages. We've worked for free to do this. They said, yeah. I said, well, how much would the charity get? They said, probably 10 pence in the pound. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. 1998, I was shocked. I went, oh, right. Like I said, you're never too old to learn a lesson. So any charities I try and help now, the Caldwell's charity in particular, John
Yes,
Caldwell,
yeah.
every pound donated, he donates £1 of his own
Yes, he does,
through
yeah.
tax. The Mawson Group, Jed Mason, the same. And the Acorns Hospice in Birmingham, they're all self-funded and everything else. And there's a few charities out there that if people are going to contribute, I'd like to think that the contribution fully goes to the charity.
100%, yeah.
I'd like to think that, and I'd encourage that. So, what do we start that story for again? So, like I said,
Sorry, no, we
I
was
regret
talking-
sometimes having that last fight I said earlier on. That one punch too many, but we.
No, we were talking about, obviously, they tried to do you for attempted murder, then naturally from there... You
Went into charity.
You went into, we were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about charity
so no, we're talking
murder.
about bullying.
Bullying,
We're talking about
yes,
bullying,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm working, doing different lectures for different companies about bullying within the ranks of the companies, schools within the years of the schools, and even in the police. I've got a very personal friend of mine. I won't mention his name. He was an armed response police officer, and during his time on duty, there was an incident. He'd done his protocol, gave the assailant the opportunity to disarm himself, and he didn't disarm himself. He opened fire on my friend, and my friend tragically had to kill the man. But he went home to his wife. His wife wasn't a widow while he was on duty as a police officer, serving the public, trying to help keep the peace, right? But he had to disarm himself and obviously go in and do the investigation and everything else. But while he was off duty, being a pen pusher,
Yeah.
off the street, he was getting ridiculed by police officers within the ranks of the police that weren't brave enough, like he was, to go out with a gun to serve the public. They thought they were doing their job as pen pushers, but they ridiculed the man. And it was getting to him, and he eventually took his early redundancy. And the police lost a good officer because of bullying within the ranks. And when I tell people that there's bullying going on within the ranks of the police, they laugh. They say, don't be talking stupid.
Sometimes
Joe."
people don't
It's
look at it
real,
like
it's
that.
real.
They just think it's
I've
an
got-
institution and it runs perfect.
Yeah.
It's not the case.
People get bullied in all walks of life. And even the powers to be. There's bullying within the ranks of the government.
100%.
There's bullying within the ranks of the government, And we live in a society that bullying is ripe.
Yes. Which
It's
is
ripe.
sad.
Yeah.
It's tragic. It's tragic, but like I said earlier, the physical bullying, there's a time scale of healing The mental bullying, there's no time scale.
Can't put a
really.
time on it, yeah.
know.
If you'll ever recover, some
If you
people
ever
might not,
recover.
some who don't, unfortunately, maybe,
Take
like you
their
said,
lives.
commit suicide and take their
Take their
lives. So
lives.
it's the ripple effect. The effect
It is.
it causes.
It is very, very sad. It is very, very, very sad. You know, and I'm still an advocate that there's hope.
Yes.
Right? I still believe. We have to believe that there's hope.
Yeah.
You have to have hope.
We have to believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That eventually, it's going to go into decline. It won't stop. We won't be able to stop bullying.
No.
But we can. You can slow it down. You can.
I think education's a big thing. Education.
You know.
And if I can, and obviously for whoever's watching and listening, and like mainly what Joe's points out, like I say, is an ambassador for this, and he's very close to him. Is if you are struggling in school or work, for example, approach somebody, speak to somebody,
Speak to somebody.
You know, talk to somebody and release in a sense, rather than probably just suffering or going through it on your own.
People think the Samaritans is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
The Samaritans are a wonderful organisation.
Yes.
And they are, pardon me, they are very, very helpful. But there's other organisations out there as well, other than the Samaritans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so look for somebody, something close to where you are, even if it's the police station. Go and speak to, you know, you can be in confidence. You don't have to walk in there and speak to them in the public foyer.
In the public, yeah.
You know, you can go in and speak to them in confidence in private, you know, and they will help. You know, there's, get help. Do you understand? Don't suffer. Don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence, because what happens is the suffering will eventually consume you. And then that's what happens then, you take your life.
So everything's just dark and you're in a box now. And there's anywhere you look, it's just, you can't escape, you can't get out.
No, get help. You know, get help. You know, there's help out there.
Yeah.
Don't suffer bullying.
No, I think we'll also enlighten down the back of that. We'll be attaching. We'll obviously have a chat before, but we'll put some links in if anybody's ever had problems or is having problems, just to find some support. Reach out, speak to somebody.
Yeah, you know, it's go to a boxing gym, go to an MMA gym, go to a kickboxing gym, and speak to the trainers in there. Do you understand? Because you can be sure that you're not the first person to walk through that door of that gym or that, whatever they call it, the martial arts venues.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to walk through them doors that has suffered bullying. So they are well trained and well capable.
Rehearsed in this, yeah.
Yes, of helping you, because they would have helped many before you. You know, so that to me is a good way of going forward. You know?
And can I ask Joe, it's away from your person per se, is if you had an opportunity, because obviously you've travelled the world, you've met a lot of people from different walks of life, different professions, different cultures, religions, and you know, you're a very welcoming person. You know, like I said, your manners impeccable. You know, you respect for people, how you treat people. If you had the opportunity to have a dinner, let's say a top meal or just a private dinner, and you could have 3 people on your table, who would you like to sit and whose brains would you like to pick or discuss, or just to have the opportunity just to speak to them?
Nelson Mandela.
Oh, very nice.
Right.
You ready for that one?
Oh, listen.
It's probably been asked that before, right?
Have you been asked that
Oh,
before?
let me tell you, no, I've never been asked that before. But I speak about that man many, many times, because what he's had to endure for what he believed in, right? And what he sacrificed.
He never sold out.
Yeah, he always stuck to his guns.
Muhammad Ali,
Yes.
right? That's 2. And
It's 2 good ones, though.
Yeah,
Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali. Very good.
my dad again.
Nice.
Very nice.
I like that.
That's a good, you know what?
'Cause I'm sure your dad was your role model as well. Yes.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably one of the impressive lineups I've probably come across.
I worship the ground he stood on.
That's amazing.
That's why I said that got me going, the best lineup ever. Literally.
Yeah.
Honestly. Wow.
He used to used to knock my elbows, put my elbow on the table.
Yeah, it's not nice, is it? Yeah.
And he'd do that if I was with Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali and my
Yeah.
dad. He'd do the same.
Yeah.
Don't talk when you're chewing.
Proper old school.
Yeah.
I love
Don't bite your nails.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chew your food.
Elbows off the table. Sit upright.
Yeah. Don't butt in when we're talking.
Chew your food before you talk.
Yeah.
You know?
And can I give a personal shout out? I know
Finish what's on your plate.
in the great scheme of things, I'm nowhere near Joe, but big shout out to Joe Egan for coming down. But I'd like to send a message to Guy Ritchie. When are you going to do a film on Big Joe Egan? Been waiting for it. You got all the best, the Lock, Stocks, this, that, Snatch, The Gentleman. Where's Big Joe? I'm still waiting for this movie.
I think Guy Ritchie would be the best one as well, wouldn't he?
He's the only one. It's only him.
Like,
It
his
can't be
films-
nobody else. It's got to be Guy
gotta
Ritchie.
be Guy Ritchie.
They've,
But,
done a script. They've done a script. They just need to.
have they?
Wow.
Yes, get in.
That's
We
it.
heard it here first
Exclusive.
again, guys.
They've
Exclusive.
done a script. There's talk about it. So fingers crossed it'll happen.
Nice.
That's brilliant,
I
Joe.
hope to get somebody good looking to play me. But,
But no, I'd like to personally, on a serious note, though, I'd love to see a film on you, Joe. I don't know who they'd get to play you because the charisma, the energy you bring. I'll be honest with you,
They'll have to find
they're gonna
someone.
struggle with
They're gonna
somebody,
find someone.
to find somebody like that. I think it might be the case of similar to God rest his soul. Was it Ronald Graham who did your book? He's gonna have to come. This guy is and spend a lot of time with you to get that Joe Egan effect.
well,
But
the actor that played Cass was an actor called Nonso Nusi.
yes, yeah,
And Nonso spent months and months with Cass. And Cass spoke with a bit of a lisp. When you watch the film and you close your eyes and you listen to Nonso speaking,
think
you
it's
can actually
Cass.
hear that lisp. Wind the clock on, they're talking about Jamie Foxx playing Mike Tyson in a Mike Tyson film. It's been talked about at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's an interview on YouTube. You can actually watch Jamie Foxx being interviewed with CGI. They can
Yeah.
make him look younger for a...
because Tyson and Fox are pretty close as well, aren't they? As
Very
friends,
close. Yeah,
yeah.
Jamie Foxx, incredible
They're good
actor.
friends, aren't they?
Incredible actor. But they interviewed Jamie about playing Mike Tyson. And in the interview, he said the opening scene would be Mike taking a kid on the pads and the kid saying, "You were a champion one time. You were a champion."
When he-
And Mike said, "That's a lifetime ago. Come on, kid, you're punching the pads. You're punching the bag." And Jamie Foxx is telling this as he's been interviewed, but he's talking
with Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's lisp as well. And he's saying, "Come on, kid, just do the punch." But my daddy told me you were the greatest. And as Mike is holding the pads, the kid misses the pad and hits Mike. And as Mike feigns as if he's falling, it goes back to his last fight.
Oh, and then he
When he
relives
fought
the
Kevin
film.
McBride, I was at that fight. I was ringside when he fought Kevin McBride in Washington, D.C. Muhammad Ali was ringside as well because his daughter, Layla Ali, fought on the bill. Yes. She fought an Irish-American called Erin Toha. And Layla Ali was just incredible. Erin Toha could fight. I met Erin Toha's trainer that day in the hotel. And he said, "My girl's up for this fight." He said, "We know that Layla has the credentials and the bloodline of her father, but my girl can fight." He said she's got MMA background, boxing background, and her trainer had predicted a victory for her, and she could fight. She came in, hair braided, muscles, trained hard for the fight. I went 4 rounds, and she gave a good account of herself. But Layla's bloodline, her father, her DNA,
Yeah, natural genes.
yeah, was too much for Erin Toa. But Erin Toa fought well, extremely well. When Mike fought Kevin, Mike was at the end of his career. And I don't think there was any desire left there. Take nothing away from Kevin. Kevin beat
Just
what
that
was,
fire
Kevin
was-
beat what was in front
Yeah.
of him. Same as Danny Williams beat what was in
Yeah.
front of him. But it was a shell of a man, right? It was a shell of a man. And I was ringside, and it was sad to see. It was very, very sad to see the demise of a great fighter. But sometimes they leave it go too long. They leave it go too long, and they don't hang up the gloves for whatever reasons, financial reasons, chasing the old glory, whatever reasons. They leave it too long. And Father Time catches up with us all.
Of course, naturally.
You cannot beat Father Time. If you live a good life, you can slow him down, but you
Can't
cannot
beat
beat
him.
him. Do you understand? And Mike hadn't lived a great life outside of the ring, outside of the training. I believe, I said it in my book, when Cuss died, the best of Mike died. We never saw the best of Mike Tyson. If Cuss D'Amato had stayed alive longer, Cuss died before Mike won the title.
Yes, he did.
If Cuss had stayed alive a lot longer.
I always thought that was a bit sad.
Very sad. But we never saw the best of Mike because the parasites and the vultures had got a grip on Mike then when Cuss protected him from that.
Yes.
And we saw a slowly demise of a great fighter. And the icing on the cake of his career, or the last nail into the coffin of his career, was the Kevin McBride fight. Yes, he's come back and he's had a charity fight with Roy Jones and looked incredible.
Yeah.
Looked incredible.
Yeah,
looked
he did.
incredible. But when that fight with Kevin McBride, it was sad to see. But in the opening credits of the film, it's Mike getting hit, feigning, falling, and then it's going back to that fight on camera. But Jamie Foxx is talking, and close your eyes again, it's Mike speaking, but Jamie Foxx is such an incredible actor. And I hope to do a great story on Mike on film, and I hope one day maybe to do a film about me as well.
Brilliant.
I'd be in the tailwind of Mike's, but who cares?
Yeah,
What
who
a
cares?
tailwind to be enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Here's a tailwind of Mike Tyson. I've been
How many people can say they've had a film
Exactly.
made on them? That's all, you know what I mean? So, in that respect. But yeah, no, Joe, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy.
Been an absolute pleasure.
Like-
It's been an emotional day.
I
It's
said
been
to
an
him
emotional day.
as soon as I
my
rang
life, my life has been emotional. I've had a roller coaster of a journey.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. I'm
No.
still here.
Yes,
Hopefully, I'll be
still.
here for a long time to come. But
Hopefully.
Definitely.
Yes.
fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers
no, I'm
crossed.
very grateful because I said to Naki,
I'll be looking forward to this.
you can tell by his face going when he met you outside. So yeah, no, I said to him, I will get you on as long as he's obviously depends on his schedule.
And I hope
if he's
whoever
filming,
watches this,
if
hope
he's
whoever watches
working.
this enjoys my interview and enjoys my honesty. And
really appreciate you.
if you
opening up.
ever get the opportunity to meet me on the street, please come over and give your opinion on my interviews and this one in particular. And look forward to meeting the viewers one day.
Yeah, one day.
No, thank
One
you very
day.
much, Joe. And,
pleasure.
and guys, obviously, once again, I just want to give this a shout. Big Joe Egan, the toughest white man on the planet.
According to Mike Tyson.
Amazon.
Amazon.
Best place to get
According
it.
to Mike Tyson.
Get onto this, and he's also very soon, hopefully, inshallah, we'll have a movie out on it. We'll have to get a message out to Guy Ritchie.
It'd be wonderful. I used to dream about being world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Never got to live that dream. I used to dream about walking the red carpet with my mother. If they ever made a movie about my life, she's no longer with us anymore, so I'm not going to get to live that dream.
Should be there in spirit, though, when it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
I spoke to a friend of mine the other week, a very, very personal friend of mine, who has had a movie made about his life. And he said he used to talk the same talk about his mother and father walking the red carpet with him. And he had his mother and father's pictures on the seats at the premiere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I thought, wow. Same as what you just said there. Exactly that word. I went, wow. He said, Joe, they were there. He said, they sat at my premiere. He said, front row. He said, them two seats, the pictures, they were there. He says, you do the same. I will. If they
Yeah,
ever did make a
definitely.
Yeah.
movie, my mum's sitting front row.
Just don't forget tickets for us, Joe, please.
You'll be doing security for sure.
Security
Now.
for definitely,
You'll
yeah.
control, hopefully, the hordes and thousands of people
Thousands
in
of people
attendance.
trying to get to you, yeah.
It'll be like the book signing all over again.
All over again, Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate your time,
That's a
Joe. And
pleasure.
I know
Thank you.
you're
Thank
hectic.
you.
You're all over the country
No, thank
and
you very
abroad
much.
after time.
Thank
And if you're not acting, you're still in security, like
Yeah,
you
still
said.
do
You
my
can't-
work, still do my work,
You
you know.
enjoy that, so and I know you're traveling with them with your clients. But to be honest, I just want to say this: when I rang Joe, you just said, just like Tyson said to you, anything for you, Joe. So it was just a case of nudge. I
Same
would
as Nudge.
love to come on your podcast. I just went quiet for a minute. I think he did say hello, Nudge. So I was like, oh, Joe, thank you so much.
People see now today, I'm just a human being, and we all cry. You get this tough guy reputation. Tough guys cry. You know. They say you smile, the world smiles with you. You cry alone. I've cried in company. I'm not ashamed to say I cry. You've witnessed me today cry. There's no shame in crying.
And we actually genuinely appreciate you opening up as well and
Yeah.
sharing, you know, experiences and your personal family experiences. I don't think, you know, what you've given us anyway, personally, this is away from camera as well, what you've shared with us here, I don't think you've watched, because I'm confident I've seen every podcast of yours, because besides, I'm a fan besides friends anyway, but I've watched every podcast, and I wanted this to be a bit different. I'm not going to lie, because I didn't want to do the same thing, but I'm very grateful for you to open up and sharing things that nobody have heard anything out there.
The questions were good, and I hope the answers were every bit as good.
No, we really
Amazing.
appreciate that and being genuine, and yeah, Joe, just thank you for your time. Thank you as always, and it was lovely seeing you again. It's been too long since we last caught up. But yeah, no, just thank you, Joe. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate
Thank you for your time.
Cheers,
God
guys.
bless.
Thank you for watching as always, and again, thanks to Joe. And thank you to you guys for making this possible, to the viewers, the subscribers. We appreciate all the love and the support. And yeah, like Joe says, you see him anywhere, go across, go say hello to him.
Yeah.
Please do.
He's not shy.
Yeah.
But yeah, special thanks to Raheem today, who's helped us out on
Well done, Raheem.
some of our mixing.
Thank you.
Because we had we knew Joe was coming down. We didn't want to get anything wrong. Everything has to be right, But yeah, thank you guys. Like, follow, subscribe.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Till the next time.
I'll tell you a joke. We're going to finish on a
Boo.
joke.
Okay, go on.
Finish on a joke, right?
Yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah,
Bruce Willis,
yeah.
and Sylvester Stallone were talking about afterlife.
Okay.
And Sylvester Stallone said, "You know something, Arnie? You know something, Bruce? If there's an afterlife, I would like to come back as a famous composer. I would like to come back as Beethoven." He said, "What about you, Bruce?" He said, "Well, Arnie, Sylvester, I would like to come back as Chopin." He said, "What about you, Arnie?" "I'll be back."
I'll be back. On that note,
I'll be back.
Till the next time.
Johann Sebastian Bach, born in Eisenach, Germany, one of the greatest composers of all time.
nice.
Very nice.
I'll be back.